This is the minimum number of referrals to ask for every week. More than none. There you go.
What happens when you put the UK's #1 sales trainer in front of a live audience at Sky Studios? Andy Bounds has helped businesses across the globe sell more, lead better, and communicate in a way that gets results. He's written 3 international bestsellers, but Andy's real magic? It's clarity.
If you want children to go to bed, but you say, good news kids, there's 2 options tonight. You can go to bed at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Which do you prefer?
Sold. The best communicators are...
Number 1. Am I ranting now? I'm never sure if it's ranting or passion.
If you want to trigger action every time you speak, even if you're not a natural communicator, this episode is for you. Let's do this.
So what do you do? And he said, I'm an accountant. But the only response I can think of if someone says they're an accountant is, oh. Are you? You know? So our elevator pitch has got to be brilliant.
ActionCOACH, the help you need to grow your business.
Andy Bounds, folks! Good to see you again, Andrew.
It's great to be here, James.
Who's the real Andy Bounds?
I wasn't prepared for this question. The real Andy Bounds, well, my wife says she's married 2 people. Andy Bounds is the guy who waves his arms around, talking all the time. And then there's Andy, who's just fat and watches telly at home.
You're definitely not fat.
Okay, well, there you go. So Andy Bounds is here today, then.
And you don't work Fridays, neither.
I don't work Fridays, no, apart from for you.
So look, everyone, this is special. This is being recorded on a Friday. We've dragged him out. All right, so which is your favourite out of these 3, by the way?
My books.
Yeah.
I love them all, really. So I was going to say having a book is like having a child because you have to create it and you love them all equally. But obviously child 3 is here. So some books you prefer to others, darling. Give over.
So you got 6 children?
4 children, 2 grandchildren.
And these are more children?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's right. So 4,
7.
5, 6, 7, there's hundreds of them. Yeah.
Okay, so this one is heavily on sales and the journey that you can go through for sales. These 2 are largely on communication.
That's right, yeah.
Are the best salespeople the best communicators?
Yeah, because sales is just a subset of communicating, right? So I've never, ever met a salesperson who was a bad communicator, not a good salesperson. You've got to be good at communicating.
Communication is a skill, yeah?
Absolutely.
So we can get better at it. We can train it, we can get better.
Yep.
To me, it's an indispensable life skill.
Yeah, of course.
It's a skill that everyone needs to get good at.
Yeah, I think the only time communication isn't relevant is when you're on your own, right? Yeah. And you think of an idea on your own that you don't tell anybody about ever, right? Everything else you need communication for.
It's pretty common, that is.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, we do come up with ideas ourselves and just not tell anyone about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you do tell someone else, you have to bring them with you. And we always think that we're supposed to appeal to people's needs. But I'm always interested that people don't always go with what they need, they go with what they want. So if someone looks at the 2 of us, I'm the one who needs a wig because I'm a little bit bald. But a wig salesperson could default to talking to me because I need hair, but I don't want hair, I don't like hair. Hair clearly doesn't want me. So a wig salesperson should speak to someone who would like to have hair or a different colour hair. And I think a lot of salespeople, a lot of communicators think if I try and convince you need this thing, we should be fine. And it's trying to get people to help them see they want this thing. It's entirely different.
If you had to finish this sentence in, let's say, 3, 4 or 5 bullet points, yeah? The best communicators are...
Number 1, good listeners.
Great.
Number 2, ask brilliant questions. Number 3, care passionately about enhancing the other person's life. Number 4, are really comfortable with not speaking, so they're happy with silence and stuff like this. And number 5, the most boring but the most important one, they can trigger action. Because it's relatively straightforward to get someone bought into something, but actually getting them to buy or sign the order form or whatever.
So there's plenty of obvious reasons why that's the most important, yeah? Is that the one that gets neglected?
Well, all those 5 can get neglected a bit, but often you see this happen. So for example, if you want someone to do something, this is quite advanced, everyone, so you might want to take notes with this. If you want someone to do something, you have to ask them to do something. Like, stop me if this is too advanced. Yeah? Now, posh people call that a call to action. So at the end of a sales conversation, you should ask for the sale or ask for the next meeting. At the end of an email, you should ask the reader to do what you want them to do. But people don't do this. I mean, how many times do you see an email that ends with, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call? Well, that's not asking someone to do something, so they don't. Yeah? That's like a football team that passes the ball about but doesn't shoot at the goal. And one thing Drayton Bird, the master who was talking about before, one of the things he says with direct marketing, the whole thing is pointless unless you ask the reader to do something when they've read it. And it's the same with sales. At the end, you have to say, so are we going to do this or not, or how do you want to move forward?
Yeah, from my experience of working with lots of people, thousands and thousands of people, that's a bit that gets avoided.
Yeah.
You know, the clause. Oh.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
There's a bit of avoidance to that, isn't there? Is that fear?
Sometimes it's fear, but a lot of the reason people do anything is just because of the habits they're in. So, I mean, we all know people who want to lose weight, but are in the habits of eating biscuits at 11 o'clock every day. And so when you say to them, well, don't eat biscuits, you idiot, and they go, it's 11 o'clock, you idiot, because that's the power of habits, you know? So habits drive everything. So after a bit, it might have been fear to start with, but after a bit, you just get out of the habit of asking.
Starting your own business was an exciting time, wasn't it? The good days you had, and the bad. You knew you'd have to work hard, but you did it for your future. Lately, though, you're missing out on the important things in life. Time seems to be slipping by. So make the change. Claim back your work-life balance and grow your business today. Visit actioncoach.co.uk.
And there's various things that you can do to improve your ability to ask. But if you don't ask, you're not very likely to get. So I mean, we can talk about this now if you want. But there's lots of techniques you can do which take away that fear. But unless people ask, they're probably not going to make the sale.
Let's go there.
Go on then.
Let's
right,
get some
so here you go. So what's some techniques for closing? Yeah. Right, so here you go. Number one, when you ask the customer if they want to buy it, don't end up by saying or not. So you don't say, so would you like to buy this or not? It's going to be £10,000, you want to pay for it or not? Should we start next week then or not? So what happens is when people ask, they hate the vibe of or not because they might get not.
Yeah.
So what you do is you just offer people options and you say, the good news is there's 2 ways we can approach this. We could do this, we could do this. Which do you prefer? Yeah. Or there's 2 ways I could help you here. We got the big Bertha version, that's £10,000, or the smaller version, that's £5,000. Which do you prefer? Both of them will work. So it's a bit like if you want children to go to bed, you don't say, do you want to go to bed or not? Because you know how that's going to end, right? But you say, good news, kids, there's 2 options tonight. You can go to bed at 7 o'clock or 7:30. Which do you prefer?
Sold.
Parents, nailed it. So don't give them a yes, no choice.
I'm doing that.
Yes,
I'm doing that.
You're welcome. We'll just leave the podcast there, I think.
Yeah.
Another one, if you don't like that one, is ask a question with a negative in it. So one of my favourite ways, my final question is to say, so do you want to do X or Y? Give them options. But my penultimate one is, I ask a question with a negative word in it. So I say, this all feels good to me. How does it feel to you? Have you got any final concerns? So if you ask that penultimate question, have you got any final concerns? The customer will say, yes, I've got concerns, or no, I don't have concerns. All right? So if they say, no, I don't have concerns, you go, cool. In that case, good news. We've got 2 options. You want to do X or Y?
Yeah. And then it's really hard to reverse.
It's really hard to, because they said they've got no concerns, and you give them choice, right? If you say, have you got some final concerns, and they go, yes, I have, you go, oh, I'm glad I asked, what are they? And then they'll tell you what they're concerned about. Price, priority, I've already got a supplier, now's not the right time, and then it's just, in inverted commas, objection handling, and then you have to be able to deal with that. But I love that idea about penultimate question, you got any final concerns? No, I haven't, offer them options. And if it's yes, I have, what are they? Find the objection, try and remove that and go, you got any other concerns? And eventually you're able to say, so should you do X or Y then?
All right, that was all because we asked the question, you know, the best communicators are.
Uh-huh.
Let's do the same in reverse. The worst communicators are.
Oh, tedious.
They are tedious.
They are tedious, yeah, sorry. They just talk about stuff nobody cares about. I mean, for example, has anybody ever seen a sales presentation that begins with, we were founded in 1922? And nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. And then they say next to it is a map of our offices. Like, nobody cares. I don't know why people do this. You could have told me anything, and the first thing you told me is how old you are, and the second thing you tell me is how everywhere. It's like everywhere. Sorry, I get quite cross about this. Wind it in, Andy. It's just ridiculous. Again, it's just the power of habit. I work with an organisation who you will have heard of, and I can't say who it is, but their name is two people, right? So two people's names. And they used to, and you'll see what it's used to in a minute, have a slide that was black and white photos of the two founders. And I said, so the first thing you told me is how old you are, then you showed me a map of where you're based, don't care about that, and then you showed me two photos of two dead people. Like, and with respect, I just want to know if you can help me sell more in Liverpool. Like, why are you telling me all this irrelevant stuff? So the worst salespeople, they talk about themselves too much, and they talk about the past too much. And as a customer, the only two things the customers are interested in is themselves, not you, and their future. In other words, can you make their life better? So if you start off with, we were founded in 1922, it's the wrong person, it's the wrong time zone. But apart from that, it's fine.
Is it the same answers for salesperson? You know, if the best salespeople are, is it exactly the same as communicators, or is there something different?
No, it's the same thing.
The best salespeople are the best communicators?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And all those things we said before, that list of the 5 things about being interested in the other person and asking great questions and having a call to action. Doesn't matter if you're communicating, doesn't matter if you're selling, you need both those things.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned on your original list, when I asked you what the best communicators do, you made it about the other people, not about you, yeah?
Yeah.
And chapter 1 is lead the pack, which is, and the book is essentially like a bit of an analogy of taking the dog for a walk.
Yeah, that's right.
And taking yourself to top dog, sustainably top dog. There's 3 chapters: become top dog, stay top dog. Yeah. So lead the pack. This is about everyone else.
Yeah.
And becoming top dog is becoming excellent in communicating.
Absolutely. And it's the thing. I mean, I thought all your questions are equally wonderful, of course, James. But I love that question you asked before about can you get better at this? Of course, you can get better at it. It's one of these strange things that if you want to be good at, let's say, skiing, you'll probably practice skiing. If you want to be good at piano, you'll probably practice the piano. But for some reason, if you want to be good at selling, you need to be good at asking for the sale, but people don't practice that. You need to be good at asking questions, but people don't practice the questions. A very underrated skill in sales is what I call bridging. So you know how to build rapport, but then you need to bridge to ask questions, and then you need to bridge to talk about your solution, then you need to bridge onto the close. So you have to be really good at bridging, but most people don't practice that. And what they do is they end up having a 45-minute rapport build. So they find the name of the other person, kids, but they don't say, do you want to buy it then?
One area of expertise that you've got is on referrals. Now, pretty much everyone listening to this wants more referrals. And when I say referral-based marketing or selling as well, what's the first thing that springs to mind?
Referrals, I have 2 things. Is that all right? Can I do 2?
Yeah.
Number 1, ask for them. So by referrals, we just mean a warm introduction, right? Yeah. So if I want you to recommend me to your mates, I'm probably going to have to ask you to recommend, because you're not thinking of it now, we're having a chat, right?
Yeah.
So you have to bring it up with your customers, with people who like, you have to ask for it. And secondly, when you ask for it, be specific who you want. So if I say to you, James, would you be happy to refer me to your friends? You'll go, yes. But with respect, you probably won't do it because you don't know which friend. Yeah. But if I say, of all your friends, James, who do you think would most like to grow their sales the most? And you say, that'll be Jemima. I'll say, oh, tell me about Jemima. Why does she need to increase sales? I might be able to help her. Would you feel comfortable maybe email introduce it? I'll be happy to give her some free advice, for example, about selling. So you're happy to do that because your friend's getting help. You know to go and speak to Jemima rather than this ethereal everyone you know. And I get into a chance to speak to Jemima. That's got to be better than me cold calling Jemima, right?
Yeah, it has. It's still a very direct approach, isn't it? I mean, It is,
but the way you make it less direct is your opening sentence. So I don't say, James, sit down, shut up, who do you want, who can recommend? But what you would do is you would say a pleasant word like, so we're very good friends, James, so I might say the word favour. James, can I ask you a favour? And you go, of course you can, because we're good friends. And then I say, of all your mates, who do you, and then I can have the conversation. If we weren't super good friends, I might say the word advice. I do this with some of my customers. Can I ask your advice, please? And they go, yeah, what do you want to know? And I say, well, you know, I've helped you increase sales. I just wonder if everyone else you know, who else you think might like to increase sales as well? So I don't say, give me a referral. I say, do you mind if I ask you advice? I don't say, give me a referral. I say, do you mind if I ask you a favour? So yes, the second sentence is quite direct, but the first sentence brings it in quite gently.
It does indeed, actually. You give them two good segues into it, really, with a favour and advice. You've said that before. Last time I heard you say the advice question, you then followed it up with this statement, because everyone loves to be asked for...
It's flattering, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone loves to be asked for a bit of advice. You know, people like it. It's a bit of recognition in some way as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it plays to an ego in some strange way.
It does, and actually, it's nice for the other person. It's nice for me because I don't feel scared of asking you for advice. I feel scared of asking you for a referral because you might say no, and then it's an awkward conversation. But I'm not asking. I'm just asking for your advice. Yeah. And the other thing I like about it is if either of us feel uncomfortable, it gives us a get out. So I don't mind asking. You don't mind saying no because I was only asking for advice. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in don't do any harm. You know. So if you ask for a referral, if you think, for example, asking me for a referral might ruin our relationship, just don't do it. Yeah? But asking for a favour or some advice, there's no harm to that. Yeah?
Okay, so could that become a KPI?
Yeah.
Like how many people can I ask for advice this week type?
Yeah, that's right. So, and it's very important, it is a KPI, because if you don't have some sort of KPI, I mean, I believe as an action coach, you know more about this than me, but if you don't know where you're going, you end up somewhere else, right? So if you don't have this idea about how many referrals you want to ask for, you probably won't ask for that number.
Maybe all the listeners right now, they should think of a number of how many referrals you want to get in the next year.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah, I do that. I have two suggestions for people listening. One of them is what I call 3 and 1. So every week, I'm going to ask for 3, and hopefully I'll get 1. So that's one way to do it. So if you did that every week for 50 weeks, 50 times 3, that means you'll ask for 150, you probably get 50, probably fine, right? Now, so if people like that, I don't like, I'm going to get 3 referrals a week because that feels quite pressurizing, but I'm going to ask for 3 saying the word favour or advice, and I'll try and get 1. That should be fine. If people think that's a bit too scary, then this is what I'm about to say now is the minimum level of referrals to ask for, okay? So everyone making notes, write these 3 words down. This is the minimum number of referrals to ask for every week. More than none. There you go. Just ask for more than none. Sorry, my voice squeaked then. Sorry. More than none. So you just want to ask for more than none. I mean, simple maths. If you ask for more than none, if you do that every week for a year, you're going to ask for 52. Yeah? And if you've got a team of 10 people, between you all, you're going to ask for 500. You probably hit your sales target just by doing that. Just ask for more than none.
I didn't see that coming, what you just did, by the way.
Did you not?
And if you've got a team of 10, because what you've just done is now there's an expectation. This strategy, this technique is going to be embedded in the business. Everyone's going to ask for referrals.
Yeah, and the way you hold people to account, hold them to account, that doesn't sound very nice. The way that you help encourage people to change their habits is...
That's a really nice way
you like that one?
it.
Yeah, do this. Is when you, if you're their leader or when you're with their team, all you do is you regularly, relentlessly ask them, since I've last seen you, who have you asked for to give you a referral? And so you can either do that individually, so I could ask you, James, I could ask, Laura, I could ask individuals, or when we're in a team meeting, we have a section called referral request this week, and we go, James, who have you asked? Laura, who have you asked? And it just brings the accountability up, yeah? Because you don't want to be the one who hasn't done it this week. And I always say to people, if you're trying to motivate yourself or other people to get referrals, to start with, just go with the activity, not the result. So it's like, don't worry if it doesn't work. I'm just worried that you ask. Just ask for a referral. Just ask. And just ask more than no times this week. And we'll see how we get on. And next week, we might go nuts and try and ask for the dizzy heights of 2. But you just sort of like make it nice and simple.
What I like about what you're doing right now, Andy, is number one, it's very intensive. You know, you're action oriented right from the start. But it's pretty specific as well. I mean, and it's got leverage. Like everyone in the business can do this. So everybody listening right now is thinking multiplying, not just like who am I going to ask once or twice. This is a standard every week for everyone in the business. And we're even going to talk about it in the team meetings. Okay, so really like that. But what makes someone referable? That's a different area that we've just got to touch on that's linked to this.
So what makes someone referable? Various things. Number one, you have got to deliver value. I'm going to talk about this as many times as you like in our conversation. There's a word I bang on about in sales all the time, which is the word afters. And what I mean by afters is, why is the customer better off after you? So if you're a lawyer, James, with respect, I don't really want you and your legal brilliance, but after seeing you, I'm no longer going to jail. Yeah, that's what I don't want. The lawyer, I just want no jail time. If you were a personal trainer, I don't want your fancy personal training stuff, but after you, I want to lose a bit of weight before I go. Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to focus on delivering afters. In other words, the people you work with have got to be better off after you. So if you are a marketeer, there's no point saying we've done a lovely campaign with lovely creative. Like, no, after the marketing, we've had an extra £30,000 of business. We've had an extra 40 leads this week. Yeah. If you're an action coach and you have your wonderful techniques, no, but after working with you, my business is twice as big and I work half as many hours. Yeah. That's an after. So you have got to deliver afters. Got to deliver afters. Other things are kind of like obvious, like be nice, be responsible, be responsive, be interested, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, if their condition has not improved because of you, well, they're not going to recommend you to the mates. Yeah, so the reason I get referrals, I think, is partly because I ask for them and all that stuff. But the other one is, everyone I've asked, they've already generated sales more than 10 times what they've paid me. Okay, so by the time I ask, they know I'm quite a good return on investment, which means when they introduce me to Jemima will probably say thank you. I'm not going to ask them until they've started making sales, though.
You keep everything so simple, and you're consistent, because I've heard you say this before.
I'll say it again in a minute.
Yeah, well, I remember a technique where you combine asking for referrals and you throw an after in the middle of it when you ask for someone's advice.
Yeah. God, you're very well trained / brainwashed. Yeah. So what you can do is you can speak to an existing customer and say, can I ask your advice? Can I ask a favour? And they go, yeah, what is it? So, well, before I ask that, do you mind if I just ask you, the work we're doing together, are you happy how we're doing? And the customer says, yes, it's wonderful. And you go, oh, that's glorious, thank you. What would you say has been the most valuable thing we've done working together? That's the afters question. What has been most valuable, what we've done working together? And someone might say, well, the £1 billion of sales we've won, that's been pretty valuable. Oh, tell me more about that, and what difference has that made to you? What difference has it made to your family? What difference has it made to your business? And now they're in a really good place because they're mindful of the afters I've caused, because they're saying about £1 billion. And then I can say, just out of interest, who else do you know who'd want to make some sales? So that's another really powerful way to do it. So are you happy with the work? Yeah. Brilliant. What's the best thing about it? Cool. Who else do you know who would want that?
I like that a little bit better than the time you shared it before, because there's a few questions and you're enrolling them on the journey. They're convincing themselves what they've done with you as well and seeing the value themselves. The thought that's going through my head is, do you have to be confident to say that to someone? Yes, but confidence is one of these things. Confidence is one of the, trust, another one. It's an output confidence. So you can't click your fingers and become confident. You can't click your fingers and generate trust. What happens is you have to do stuff that causes confidence. You have to do stuff that causes trust. So confidence, trust, things like that are an outcome. So if you want to become more confident at that, one thing, of course, you can do is what I call script and practice. So script, I've given you example words to say, but even if anyone listening to this likes the words, I strongly suggest you walk around your bedroom saying them out loud, practice them out loud, because this is a verbal thing, so you have to practice it verbally. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I've got very bad eyesight, I can't see far enough to drive, but my understanding is when these people who can see and can drive, they don't just read the highway code and think, that should be fine. You know, they don't watch somebody else who's good at it and go, that should be fine. And when they first try, they don't go on the M6. They do in the car park and pootle around. So if you want to be good at something, what you do is you practice in a risk-free place before you bring a bit of risk in. So if you want to build your confidence with this, get your script and then just practice saying it. I'm frequently amazed by how poor people are at practicing this stuff. You know, they want to be good at asking for referrals, but they've never practiced in the car park. So when are they going to do it? You know, it's like with objection handling. It's almost negligent as a business owner, as a salesperson, to not have practiced handling the price objection. Because the customer's going to say at some point, can you do something about price? Because they always do. Yeah? And if you haven't practiced that, you're going to open your mouth and go, yeah, you can have a discount. Because you just haven't practiced it. But if you want to be good at it, script and practice, work out what you're going to say, and then just practice saying it 20 times. I'm really, really good at objection handling.
Not because I was born this way, but I've just like invested half an hour a week for 3 weeks and I got ace at my scripts and my practice.
One of my good friends is a guy called Marcus Sheridan. He's a marketer, not a sales guy, but he's a good, really good communicator, so kind of makes him a good sales guy, yeah? And he once said, like, really powerful, dramatic statement. He said, you tell me how often your sales team train, and I'll predict how much growth in revenue you're going to get in the next 12 months.
That's cool.
And he was almost got into people's heads with that stuff. And you've made me think of it there. He didn't do the sales training with me. He was just challenging them in that area in that time. But you've made me think, how often are people sales training and do like role playing with the scripts that they've got?
Yeah.
You know, for the businesses that you go in, are they doing it at all? Or
well, they weren't. They are now.
Right.
Yeah, so very often I'll say to people, tell me some of the objections that you've got. And they'll say, I don't like it when someone asks for a discount. And I said, right, role play, give me a discount, go. And they go, that's why you hate it, because you don't know what to say. I do know what to say, so I go into meetings thinking, come on, man, ask for a discount. Yeah, because I know what to say. And it's funny, actually, I was saying this to one of my customers, and they got quite shirty about it and said, it's all right for you. We go, what do you mean? Well, you know all these scripts. And I said, I wasn't born with them. And he goes, yeah, you were. And then he went off on this rant about salespeople, are they born or are they made? Are they born or are they made? I said, they're made. This has never happened in a maternity ward, ever, right? You've got proud parent or parents, and a midwife comes up and says, oh, look, you've had a little salesperson. Ridiculous, stupid thing to say, right? So the reason I've got is it because I'm inherently lazy, sorry, time efficient. I'm inherently lazy, and I cannot be bothered just messing things up time after time after time. The quickest route to success is script and practice.
I know that you're saying that inherently. Have you had it drilled into you? Who trained you on sales?
Well, I don't really know. I trained quite extensively in communication. So family background, my mum's blind. So I said before about my bad eyesight. I know you know this story, so sorry for boring you here. My mum's blind. So when I was a kid, the person who taught me to speak can't see. So I became naturally interested in how do I change what I'm saying so my blind mum doesn't miss out. Yeah, and all that sort of stuff. And as a kid, I used to hear someone explain something to mum and she wouldn't quite get it, and the person speaking would be a bit embarrassed and mum would be quite embarrassed. And as a kid, just thinking, oh, if you just had said this, then both you and my mum would have been happy. And I think that's my adult job now. I look at salespeople and think, oh, if you just had said that, both you and the customer will be happy. So I sort of learnt a lot from that, and then I did lots of studying about it. So most salespeople, most sales trainers come to sales training because they had a sales background. I had a blind mum communication background. So my first job was training people how to communicate, if you like, and then I went into sales just because there's a lot of pain in sales. Customers hate bad selling. Salespeople hate it if sales don't work. You know that phrase, I think sales is a dirty thing. And I think it's a dirty thing if you do it in a dirty way, but you can do it in a charming, beautiful way if you know how to do it.
Interesting story that. I've heard you say something about your mum before in the past as well, and the eyesight. What were the key things that you picked up from your mum about communication then?
Well, most importantly, put yourself in their shoes, and you think you're putting yourself in their shoes, but often you aren't. So if you want to be really good and see the world as a blind person, like shut your eyes and try and walk from here across the room. Right? It's not easy.
This episode is sponsored by AdSmart from Sky, making TV advertising affordable, targeted, and effective for businesses of all sizes. AdSmart from Sky works with thousands of UK businesses, helping them use the power of TV advertising to accelerate their growth and build brand fame. With a 6-week TV campaign starting at £3,000, it's a lot more affordable than you think.
Yeah. In fact, here's a good exercise. All of you, just shut your eyes for a second. Imagine that was it. You know, it's totally different. Yeah, now open your eyes. Thank you, you've been very patient here. So so that's one thing, really try and empathize. The main thing I learned from mum is you've got to do context first. So I could describe this room we're in now to my mum in maybe 2 sentences. With respect, James, it might take you 5 for no other reason than I've got a blind mum and you haven't, right? So I'm used to explaining things. So from a salesperson's point of view, instead of context first, it's like afters first. So you know I said before about afters, like why is the customer better off after you? That's the context to them. So I won some work recently from a pharmaceutical company, and this idea about afters first, they said, the way you communicate, just we were one sentence in and we were hooked, whereas everybody else was telling us how old their company was. So they told me that, so whenever we win, we always have a debrief with our clients. We don't tend to debrief when we lose, it's too depressing. But when we win, we always debrief and work out what went. So I said to this pharmaceutical company, you know, we're delighted you chosen us, we're looking forward to our work together. What did you like best about our proposal? Because we'll start with this. And they said, well, to be honest, it was yours to lose based on the proposal title. And I said, oh, what do you mean? He said, well, one of your competitors sent us a proposal called Our Proposal. And yours, of course, was called How You'll Generate £50 million in 3 months. So whose did we open first, you know? And I wasn't thinking, oh, when was he founded? I hope I see some black and white photos of dead people or I'm not interested in it. And it's a bit like, you know, we go to a meeting and we call it update and wonder why nobody turns up, you know? Just call it meeting to agree how to make £50 million in 3 months. So turn up to that.
That was a bit of a low blow, that. I mean, that's pretty much everyone in the room, including me, sending updates.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, there's just a little throw. I didn't mean to ruin James's life here. But it is one of these things. I was on another podcast, nowhere near as good as this one, James. And my interviewer asked me, what is the biggest surprise you see in communication? And I thought, that's a good question. And I said, probably this. Every single one of us knows the power of first impressions. But in communication, nobody practices their first impression. So you send a proposal called Our Proposal and wonder why people don't open it. You invite people to a meeting called Catch Up and wonder why people don't turn up. You send a meeting called FYI, which I just think stands for Fill Your Inbox. You know? And we all know this. And it's like when you're networking. I was networking the other day at one of these fancy pants networking events. Went up to this guy I'd not spoken to before. And I said, oh, hi, who are you? And so what do you do? And he said, I'm an accountant. That was his first impression. Now, accountants are wonderful things. I'm married to one. I used to be one. But the only response I can think of if someone says they're an accountant is, oh. Are you? You know? So our elevator pitch has got to be really interesting. And we all know this. Your elevator pitch is...
So wait on. When, go back to the other night.
Yeah.
He says, I'm an accountant. And you were like, don't say it. Don't just say, oh.
Yeah, that's right. No.
Did you actually pivot and work on it?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you can't say, too boring, I'm going to find someone else. Nerd. Then you pivot and say, oh, that's interesting. Who do you work for and how long have you been there? And I want to find the afters out there interested in, right? So I then say, so what are you responsible for in your practice?
But what you just did there is a demonstration of sales skills as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just really interested.
Asking questions, showing interest.
Asking questions and find the afters they want. So I don't say what afters do you want because people think you mean dessert, right? Apart from Liverpool, where I'm from, afters means a fight. Bit of afters after last orders with your busy mates. Yeah. So if someone says they're an accountant, I ask 3 or 4 questions and then say what you're responsible for. In other words, what do you want to achieve after today? And when I asked this guy what is he responsible for, he said, well, 2 things really. I have to look after my clients and I have to grow the practice. So straight away I'm thinking, so afters he might want to grow in the practice and I might be able to help with that. Yeah. So there's 2 points there. Number 1, how to respond to pants elevator pitches. But number 2, all of us have got to give a good elevator pitch. Even if it said, I'm an accountant, which basically means it's my job to help my clients grow quicker than they thought they could. I'm an accountant, which basically means I help my clients pay less tax. That's fine, but if you just say, I'm an accountant, full stop, I'm probably going to say, oh, and say, I'm really sorry, but I need the toilet.
Let me go on to the Snowball Effect, because the Snowball Effect is a really powerful book.
Thank you.
Look, that's chapter 46 already there, so there's a lot. It's very short. Yeah. Each one can be picked up and read separately. And there's a lot of frameworks. Mm-hmm. Frameworks, techniques, what to use to enhance your communication. And so the snowball effect, imagine like a snowball, everybody right now, just rolling down a hill. And what happens, it gets a bit bigger as it goes down and goes down. So I want to create that snowball effect. And we've had a good start here, you know, because we've found out what the best communicators do, who the best salespeople are, how to ask for referrals. Then you've gone and 10x'd it. Mm-hmm. Now, this is the snowball effect happening here. Because not just asking for referrals using this technique, everyone in your business is a referral machine. You know, they
just have to ask for more than none.
There's 11 defenders on a football pitch. Yeah. Team you defend, he defends. 11 attackers, etc. So everyone's a referral machine. Let's go even deeper on the snowball effect. Mm-hmm. How do we develop a network of people and partners that are willing to refer us when we're sleeping?
Okay. So I'm in danger of saying the word afters here again. So people will only do what you want them to do if it's in their self-interest to do it. Okay? So no one is going to refer me unless they want to refer me.
Right.
So not because they need to, because I'm shouting at them, because they want to. Like the wig salesperson goes to the person who wants hair, not me. Right? So what we have to do is we have to find out what people are most interested in and then try and link in getting me referrals to what they want. Yeah?
You heard of Dale Carnegie?
I have.
You and Dale Carnegie have got the same philosophy here. He says the best way to get anyone to do anything for you is to get them to want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And which is what you said really eloquently.
That's right. And so what we want to do is we want to find out what they're interested in. I mean, this isn't quite the question you've asked, but use this as an analogy, then we'll come back to it. So what a lot of sales managers do with sales teams is they say, go and make more sales because you need more sales to hit your target. Yeah? And that's trying to sell a wig to someone who doesn't, you know. So what you do instead is you say, if by luck or circumstance or skill or whatever you happen to get all your commission, what would you spend it on? A boat. Why would you buy a boat? Tell me about your boat. Where would you sail your boat? Right, so my job as your manager is to help you get this boat. And the simple way to get your boat is to improve referrals. Do you mind if I tell you about referrals? Because referrals and your boat are a simple connection. Now they're interested. So what you did, you took the time. You didn't just say, hit your targets or I'll smash your face in, which is how most sales managers are. I mean, they literally are like that. Hit your target or I'll smash your face in. Instead, you say, if you hit your targets, what would it mean to you? What would you do with the commission? What would you spend it on? Oh, so you want a boat, do you? All right, and then now you know what they want, and it's relatively easy then to talk about it.
Okay, so how many people should the standard business aim for as a group of people that you develop a relationship with, you onboard them, there's something in it for them, so they're getting something out of this. I mean, what's a good number in terms of referral partners to establish that are motivated and have got the desire to refer you?
Well, just as many as possible, because every single person who does it is good.
It is as many as possible, but that's also it's hard to grab hold of. I mean, what's the first milestone?
So my first milestone...
Is it one or is it several?
My first milestone is me, because I have to sort me out. You know, when you talk about being a role model, I don't know how many people get juiced by the word role model. The opposite of a role... So a role model is someone who says, behave in way X, and I behave in way X. That's what a role model is. So even if you're not juiced by the words role model, you'll be juiced by the opposite of a role model. The opposite of a role model is a hypocrite. Yeah? So a hypocrite is someone who says, you ask for referrals, but I'm too busy to ask for referrals. All right? So the first thing you've got to do is sort yourself out. So you've got to make sure you're regularly asking for referrals. So step one, sort yourself out and get good at it. Yeah? Step two, I suggest you then choose one or two deputies who you know are pretty likely to run with it, and you get a hub. And when you've got that, you can then sort of branch it out, and then you want as many as you can. But you've got to start with yourself. I hate the sort of leadership approach, which is a bit like, you know, the Wizard of Oz when you got the Wicked Witch who goes, fly free, my flying monkeys, while I stay in my castle doing magic. And I think, no, you're supposed to be a leader. Go and fly first, then the monkeys will follow you. That's not a very good analogy. You know what I mean?
Okay, so...
Anyone making notes, cross that bit out. It's absolutely dreadful.
Sort yourself out first, be congruent.
Yeah, be congruent. Make sure you ask. And of course, it's better then because you're able to say, look, I've done this. And I'll be honest, the first time I asked, I was a bit nervous. So I just thought of the rule, first do no harm. And all I did is say, do you mind if I ask you a favour? And it was really soft. And then you can talk about it. And then you can say, why don't we have a chat on Friday? And I'll tell you one person I asked for, and you tell me one person you asked for. So just be patient with it. I mean, the end game is they're doing this every week without thinking, but they don't have to go from a standing start to 1,000,000 miles an hour in a day. Get them going.
I want to acknowledge that point, actually, give it a bit of energy, because be patient with it. I've heard other people say this phrase, it's a slow burn. Developing strategic partners, strategic alliances, people that refer on your behalf. It's a relationship thing.
Yeah.
And it takes time and patience.
It does, but you have to be careful that it does. I like that slow burn. It does have to move forward. If you're not careful, it is a stationary burn.
Slow burn and then goes out.
Yeah, so you find some salespeople who say, well, everyone buys from me because of the relationships we have. And you go, no, I don't think so. They buy from me because you're able to offer them some afters. They don't buy from you because they like you. It's not enough. If they hate you, you've got no chance, but just because they like you more doesn't mean they'll buy more. One of my best friends is a guy called Oliver. And I like Oliver so much, I would feel uncomfortable having a sales chat with him because he's my mate. Yeah, and so relationship can be too good. I was saying before at lunch today, heard this brilliant thing. This procurement guy was so fed up with false relationship building from salespeople. He got this photo of two beautiful, good-looking children and put the photo on his desk facing the door. And when the salesperson will come in, they'd see this photo and go, "Oh, are they your children?" And he'd go, "Nope, what do you want?" I imagine it was fairly terrifying for every salesperson who came in going, "Why has he got photos of these kids on his desk?" It's just weird.
Okay, so getting more people in your network, I've still got like a number in my mind, you know, building up to 4 or 5 people that are actively referring you, that are bought in with a reason, that you've progressively educated on how to do it, and there's something in it for them.
Yeah.
So and they're external to your business. These are other people, not the ones that are in your business. So we've got more and more referral-based marketing happening. Now, just imagine one of them people. Like, I'm sure you've trained and developed. Maybe you're one of them yourself. The person that's the magnet, that've got all of these people around them doing it. So you imagine him, a person that you even know in your mind. Describe that person's characteristics.
There are certain characteristics I really want in people I partner with. So if I am helping my customers recruit salespeople, or for myself I'm recruiting partners, I want them to have the following characteristics. So this is just my list, it's not a definitive list. Number 1, proactivity. I want self-starters. If I carry on having to check in with them, have you done it yet? It doesn't work. Number 2, optimism. Because sales is, you've got to keep going. And if it doesn't work, it's easy to a bit, oh, no, it's not going to work. So I want proactivity, I want optimism. There's a word that Alistair Campbell invented, I think, you know, the politics guy, who says perseverance. You know, you can tell what 2 words are there. So you've got to be able to persevere, and you have to be resilient. But the other thing, for me personally, or it's off-brand, is they have to be obsessed with delivering afters. So my very simple rule is, if someone pays me 5 figures, they need to get about 6 figures. If someone pays me 6 figures, they need to get about 7 figures. In other words, whatever they pay me is a drop in the ocean to what they get back. So I wouldn't want any partner that doesn't have that mindset. So if I partner with someone who might be really good at hammering people down and manipulating people into buying stuff, I wouldn't partner with them because they don't have the same values. So it's got to be about enhancing the condition of the other person.
So let's just recap on there.
So optimism, proactivity, perseverance, afters obsession. They're my list.
That's a really good direction for the audience as well. They're the people that you want to be partnering, of getting that, and then the snowball effect is taking place.
Yeah, that's right, and then comes magic.
The snowball effect's not finished yet.
Go on then, Jamie.
We can go even a level deeper, which is creating a mass reputation. Let your reputation exceed yourself. Word of mouth like never before. Literally, people with pride are shouting from the hilltops about you. They're not even your partners. You've not even had to educate them. How do you develop something like that?
So again, it takes work, that. But the most important thing, I'm going to say the word afters again, I'm so sorry, is to continue delivering value. So for example, I've got a LinkedIn feed. I'm not on Instagram because I'm miles too old for that sort of stuff. But I do LinkedIn, I call that social media. My kids roll their eyes. But what
Gary Vaynerchuk calls it social interest.
There you go, that's fine. Yeah, I just call it LinkedIn. Yep. So what I do, because that's where most of my customers are, right? So I go where my customers are. Don't go where your customers aren't, just go where your customers are. So all my customers go on LinkedIn, and I will post stuff every day, basically giving free advice. I have a thing called Tuesday Tips. I send an email out to my database, which is tens of thousands of people. Every Tuesday, an email appears in people's inbox going, here's a tip. So I give advice all the time. I come on wonderful podcasts with wonderful people because I just want to help. So I passionately, so what I want is, there are 3 things people tend to say about me I've heard. I wish it was nicer than this, but there you go. Number 1, bald. Number 2, blind mum. Number 3, bangs on about afters a lot. Yeah? Usually it is pretty much word for word that. And so I always want people to think, oh, he's useful, he is. That's what he's useful, he is. So you always think, how can I be as useful as possible to as many people as possible? So I have loads of people contact me on LinkedIn, for example, saying they're recently set up in business, And I say, brilliant. And sometimes they go, can you do sales training? And I think it's a bit early for them. They might not have the money at the minute. So I say, well, look, let's just grab half an hour and we'll just talk about it. That might come back, it might not come back, but it's just being nice and it's just giving stuff.
You do bang on about afters a lot.
I do, I'm going to say it again. In a minute. It's really important. Nobody cares what you do. They only care why they're better off after you've done it.
Is that your phrase? Do you own it? Have you trademarked it?
Well, I asked a lawyer about that and he said, not really, because like people say afters all the time, so you can't really own it. But the best thing you could do is write a book with the word afters all over it, and then you can... So when we did the book in 2007, it's called The Jelly Effect, the first one. It should have been called The Afters Effect, but the publisher said that doesn't mean anything. So it was called The Jelly Effect. But yeah, so that's where we first talked about it publicly, I think.
Yeah, so the afters is sitting at the centre of everything, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
everything.
the value.
Yeah, every single thing.
Until you're clear on that, you can't get referrals then.
No, you can't. You can't sell very well. It's a bit like a great exercise I do with sales teams. And anyone listening to this, do this exercise with me now. Number one, in fact, I'm going to give everyone listening 5 seconds to do this. Write down what you think your company's best selling point is. So if I just give you 5 seconds, write down what you think is your company's best selling point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, how most people will answer that is their answer will begin with the word our. So they will say our people, our culture, our products, our technology, our customer service, our brand, our history, our heritage, our. All those are wrong. Your greatest selling point is the afters you cause. The greatest selling point of me is that my clients sell more when I finish. Yeah? The greatest selling point of me is not that I've got a blind mum. Yeah? And the greatest selling point about a lawyer is that they can get you out of jail, not that they've 45 years of legal experience. So when you ask people the question, what is your greatest selling point? The power of habits, people default to talking about themselves. Like ActionCOACH is wonderful, but not because ActionCOACH is wonderful. The reason ActionCOACH is wonderful is because after partnering with you, my business is twice as big and I see the kids more at the weekend. I don't care about ActionCOACH, really. I love you very much, but I don't care about you. I care what happens after you. So it's not just referrals, it's about how you sell yourself. And again, if you want simple exercise, have a look at all your sales communications, like proposals, emails, meetings, everything, presentations, and just ask yourself, where are the afters and are they early enough? So I saw a presentation by an accountant a bit ago. It was 24 slides long. Slide number 1, our presentation, obviously. Slide 2, bloody map of the offices or something. Slide 24 said, and that's why we can save you £20 million. And the trouble with building up to the afters like they did is we all know what happens. People's concentration drops during communication. So people communicate in the order that they think, so they develop the thinking. So if they do say the afters, they say it after everything else, but people aren't listening then. So I said, if you make one change your title to, I will save you £20 million tax, and then I'll listen. So afters, yes, afters is critical to referrals, but it's just critical to selling. You've got to go afters early. Am I ranting now? I'm never sure if it's ranting or passion.
Passion. It's passion. It's good content. Look, afters is at the start. We're going to do some audience questions in a minute. Before we do, sales, objection handling. What's the most common objection that people get?
It'll be something about price, I would think.
Okay.
It's one of the things beginning with it's either price or priority or product. Usually.
So clearly lots of salespeople are also going to listen to this. So price objection, what do we do?
Yeah. So again, objection handling is always to do with scripts and practice. So you have to know what you're going to say and then you practice saying it. So for example, if someone says, can I have a discount? My script is, and by the way, my scripts are always assertive, persuasive, and I end with a question. So I start assertively. If someone says, can I have a discount? My first words out of my mouth is, oh, we don't do them. So I'm not rude about it, so, oh, we don't do them. So that's assertive, because you want to fight their negativity with positivity. Can we have a discount? Oh, we don't do them. Yeah, and then the middle is persuasive, and say, because it wouldn't be fair on my other clients who pay the rates I've just quoted you. Wouldn't be fair. It's pretty persuasive, yeah? And then I end with a question, and I say, we can drop the price if you want to drop the scope, but if you wanted everything, it would have to be the price we've just said, which do you want to do? And you end with a question, that puts the ball back in their court. And so there will be silence after you've given your script, but if you ask a question, everyone knows it's their turn to speak next. If someone says that's quite expensive, I might assertively say, really? And then I go persuasive, but you just told me a successful outcome from this will be worth X, and my price is just a tiny percentage of that. And then I end with a question, at what price did you think might be fairer? There's not much you can say with that. I remember doing some work with a bank a bit ago, and they had this multi-billion-pound deal. And when they asked how much it was going to cost, and I told them, and they just started laughing and said, "Can you do anything about price?" I went, "Yeah, I'll put it up," which I thought was hilarious. And they went, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "Well, like, this deal is worth billions to you. My price is not even a fly on the windscreen. Why would I put my price down? It doesn't make sense." And they said, "Yeah, but you're only going to be with us for 3 days." And I said, "Yeah, but that might mean at the end of the 3 days you've got multi-million, like, do you want me to take longer? What's your point? I don't understand."
Yeah.
And now, those words are not going to magically appear when you're having a conversation. You have to script and practice them in advance.
It's true.
Yeah?
You can't wing it.
No, you can't wing it. I'll just give
Because
you
the spikes of pressure, people feel emotions when they get the objections.
Yeah.
So you've got to resort to technique.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to have practiced it, or it's going to fail. Like Alex Ferguson used to say, if you want to be really good in front of 50,000 screaming fans, practice it thousands and thousands and thousands of times when there's no fans there. Otherwise, you are bound to mess it up with the adrenaline. And also, I mean, I'll just give you one more about objection handling. Another good way to remove objections is not to let it come up in the first place. So you mentioned before, my daughter's here, child 3. We don't give our kids names. There's too many of the things, right? So child 3. So I remember when child 3 was about 5, she wanted to have a sleepover.
Child 3.
Child 3, yeah. So child 3.
I can imagine you on the train home tonight saying, "Child 3,
hello,
would you like a drink?"
3. There you go, child 3. We'll go home and see child 4. So child 3 wanted one of her children to have a sleepover. And when they were about 5, and she said, "Yeah, but Izzy's never had a sleepover."
Oh, you've given us a name.
That's right. Oh, yeah. No, Izzy. No, child 3 is not called Izzy. I don't mind selling another person's child down the river.
Oh, right.
So anyway, so child 3 wanted Izzy to sleep over, and I said, "Okay, well, go on then. Just go and sort it out." And she goes, "But what will the daddy say?" And I said, "Well, you tell me why the daddy might say no, and then see if." And I told her in effect about objection handling, try and get rid of the objection before it came up. So child 3 went up to Izzy's dad and said, "I really want Izzy to have a sleepover, but I don't want you to worry that she'll be looked after because I promise I'll look after her. And I don't want you to worry that if she misses you because I'll make sure that my dad will ring you if a problem. And I don't want you to worry that she hasn't got a toothbrush because we've got a spare toothbrush. And I don't want you to worry that she hasn't got any pyjamas because she could have my spare pyjamas." And my friend looked at me and goes, "I got nothing." And that's why I hate a lot of my life, child 3. I have to deal with this nonsense.
You told so well, you have to say yes.
Yeah, it's really annoying. But you could do that, couldn't you? So if you didn't want to talk about price, when you're talking to a customer, you could say, other than price, which of course we can agree later, what are your main priorities with this work? And once you said other than price, they can't say price, right? So I do want to talk about price, but I want to talk about afters to start. I don't want to get all excited, and then I can talk about her. So other than price, what's your main priority? They can't say price. I just said other than. Passion ranting. Sorry, James.
All right, it's time to get some questions from you guys. Where we go next?
Have you got any examples that you've seen where people have used AI for the better and for the worse in sales?
I haven't seen a huge number that are better. It's funny, like, the trouble with AI, so Drayton Beard, who was on before, was talking about how it lacks some authenticity, it doesn't have that emotional connection. The trouble with AI, great though it is, or great though it can be, it sure can make people lazy. So we have all received stuff telling us how special we are from suppliers, and we think, well, I'm not that special because you couldn't be bothered writing this email, could you? So you can tell, yeah? So the stuff that you can tell where people have been so lazy, they haven't even edited the thing the AI's written. So that's the worst thing, and we've all experienced that. So that's just rubbish. And you remember the saying about, if I see crumbs on the in-flight table, I think the wings are going to fall off. Yeah? So if somebody can't do something as petty as clean this plane, I doubt they can do something complicated like fly it. So if you cut corners when you're writing me an email to try and impress me, when you know I'm watching, what corners are you going to cut when I actually start working with you and I'm not watching? You know what I mean? So yes, it can burn through quite a lot and save you quite a lot of time, and that's the best use for it, but you've got to do the personal stuff on it afterwards. Yeah?
Do you use it in like suggestions for LinkedIn posts, something for you to edit to make it more personalised, or LinkedIn connection and message, or email marketing? You
could use those things if you want to. A lot of people do. I personally don't, because I like the rigour and the discipline of forcing myself to create stuff from scratch. I like to be creative. Sometimes people, it's like the famous story in the Michael Gerber book about the baker who set up on their own, and in the end they weren't doing any baking because they had to do all stupid rent and rates and buying an oven. The reason I do my job is because I want to create. I love creating. So why would I give that to some stupid AI machine? So for me personally, I don't use it. I know how it does, and I think it's wonderfully clever, but I just like the creativity. So the Tuesday tips, like I write all of them. I've done it since June 2010. So that's about 15 years of banging something out every Tuesday, and that forces you to think. I like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good habit, though, that is as well, isn't it? Every Tuesday, straight from the horse's mouth, you send out to everybody on your database some tips and...
Cool. And there's never any selling in it. It's not, and if you like this, you can join my 5-step sales. It's none of that. It's just like advice. There you go.
We've got Mike over here.
Mike.
Hi, James has told me in the past, never ever practice on your customer. What would you recommend as being the best way to practice?
Okay, I have 4 steps of practice. Alone, friend, enemy, surprise. So let me go through that. So alone, friend, enemy, surprise. So if you want to be good at the price objection, work out your script and then practice alone 10, 20, 30 times. Like not 2 and think that should do it. Like if David Beckham can practice 20,000 free kicks, if Roger Federer can still practice his backhand and he's retired and he's better at his backhand than any of you are at anything, with respect, you know, then I'm going to practice at least 10, 20, 30 times. So I practice alone. Then what I do is I find a friend and I practice with the friend and I say, be friendly. So when I give you my script, if it doesn't quite work, don't laugh at me, just like go along with it. When I feel I'm getting good with the friend, I then say, right, now be an enemy. So I'm going to give my objection and this time I want you to kick off a bit. And the final level, and this is the ninja level, is where surprise, and you say to your friend, anytime you want, ring me out the blue, and just ask, because customers will never say to you, oh, by the way, Mike, in about 12 minutes, the price objection's coming. Get ready. What happens is they always surprise. They always surprise you. So the thing that replicates real life is the surprise attack. Yeah? So it depends how good you want to be, because I'm inherently lazy. I want to be brilliant at this. So for me, I have to do all those 4. Surprise, friend, enemy, yeah, and then the surprise attack. If you want to be fine, at least practice on your own 10, 20 times.
Fantastic. That's what we'll be practicing in the drive home tonight.
Okay.
Great question. We've got another question over here.
Hi, Andy. Really enjoyed what you've said so far. A lot of us here with ActionCOACH are small businesses at different points in our journeys. For those of us who are quite early in that journey, where at the moment all sales are going through a founder, and we're wanting to develop our teams, what are your top tips for developing that capability in the teams from the get-go?
Okay, so, I mean, it's a great question. So some of the points I said before, I'll refer to again. Number 1, you've got to get yourself as good as you can be. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you need to be better than them, but you need to be good, because they want to see you selling, but they want to see you trying to better yourself. So that's really important. The other thing, as early as possible, in the induction, if you can, when you onboard them, you tell them part of the expectation of the job is to at least ask for referrals, or it is at least to go and so what often happens is, you know, we say habits stick. If you get someone new and you onboard them and 6 months later you say, and now I want you to sell, then it's much harder than if you say it to start with. So as soon as you can, when you're doing the induction, say, here's your health and safety form, and here's your bus pass, and here's your, and then you say, also what we all do here is we do what we call 3 and 1, where every week we try and make 3 sales and try and get 1 of them, and then you train them on that. So the earlier the better, just to install it. But if you do that, that's got to be better than if you don't, right? It was interesting. We had 2 or 3 years ago, I thought I'd try and incentivize a couple of, so we have a wonderful team who work with us, and I said to my team, if you want to try and bring in some new opportunities, I'll close them all, or no, I'm not saying I will. I'll try and close them all. You don't have to close them, just trying to bring them in. And the team really wanted to help, but it's just not part of their personality. It's not part of their psyche. And we talked about it, and after about a week or 2, they both said, this is getting on my nerves, because I know that we all thought it'd be an exciting idea, but actually it's a bit too traumatic. So we said, okay, so I said, fine, don't do it then. And it made me think that if I'd wanted them to do it, I should have told them earlier. It wasn't that. It was more like we all said, how can we try and enjoy our jobs a bit more? And it was their idea. But I think if you try and change things late, that's always hard.
We get another hand up here. Neil's got his hand up there. I mean, I brought him up on stage last 2 times. It'd be a bit weird if I don't this time. Neil, get up here, ask your question on stage.
Thank you, James. Andy, you're kind of known as the sales guy
and the afters guy and the bald guy and the guy with the blind mum, right? Mm-hmm. But I also know you as being the networking guy. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think networking is sales.
I agree.
Glad you said that. What is it? Explain it.
Right, okay. So when I said before with James, you've got this big circle, which is communication, and within that you have various subsets. Sales is one, networking is another one, and there's not very much, if any, intersection at all. Networking is simply working your way around your net. In other words, it's talking to your contacts. And what you want to do is you want to ask them questions, deliver value. The way I think about networking, yes, it's relationship building, but there's an element of filtering about it. So when you talk to other people, all the time you're thinking, can I help you more than I am doing? Either because I might be able to help you, or I know someone who can help. So when I'm talking to people for the first time, I don't think, oh, hopefully they'll buy from me. I just want to find out the afters they want. Yep. And I want to find out what's going on in their lives. And if I think I might be able to help them through an introduction or through something I can do, fair enough. If I can't, with respect, I need to filter them out because I don't want to waste their time.
Yep.
Yeah. So I once heard someone much cleverer than me say networking and sales. If you think of your business like a machine, networking and sales are like oil and water. Your machine needs both, but they don't mix very well.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've all been to networking events where some idiot has tried to sell us some air conditioning unit or something. And I've looked at them and thought, I am losing the will for you to live. Yeah. Not me. I'm fine.
Do you know what? Let's use the audience for a moment. Quick show. Well, first of all, quick show of hands. Who's ever been networking? Just about everybody. Awesome. Now, raise your hand if you've been networking and you like it when someone tries to sell to you at networking. Nobody.
None of the world. Who'd have thought that?
And yeah, I mean, the reason I asked the question is I personally feel that networking is actually, it's an extension of marketing. It's referral marketing and building a network that can refer to you and you can refer to them and build partnership. But the minute people go in and sell, they blow it, right?
Mm. And it is quite hard work. I mean, it's called network. It's not called net mess about.
Yeah.
You know, you have to put in a bit of work and it can be quite tiring, I think. If I go to a networking event, if I can, I'll make sure I find someone who's there who I know. And what I'll do is I'll say, right, I'll see you in about 20 minutes, off we go. And we go our separate ways, and after 20 minutes we go, how are you doing? Should we have a cup of tea? Right, back we go. Because it's quite hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've all been to events that are a day or two long, and you're just so drained at the end of it. So it's hard work. People sometimes can go a bit too salesy. But if you think of it as a filtering thing, if you're talking to someone interesting, you say, I'm really loving our chat. It's a bit noisy here. Give us your business card. I'll give you a call tomorrow if you want. Yeah. Cool. Marketing. And if you're talking to somebody and you filter them out, use the past tense and so you say, I've really enjoyed meeting you. And they'll go, I've enjoyed it too. And then you go your separate ways. If you don't know how to end a conversation, we've all been there, right? You can't work out how to end the conversation and it's awful. And you go like, I want you to shut up and I hate you. And they go, I want you to shut up and I hate you even more. But you don't know how to do it. And in the end, you rock gently and say, well, don't let me keep you. Yeah. But if you just say, I mean, my two favourite ways to end are, who are you hoping to bump into tonight? And let's say you say, well, people who work in banks, I do a lot of work with banks. And I say, if I see anyone who works for a bank, would you like me to send them your way? And you go, oh, thank you very much. And you go, I've really enjoyed our chat. I have too. And then you can part. And you want me to go because I might find you a banker. Yep. And when I talk to the banker later on, I can, with respect, get rid of the banker by bringing them over to you. So, so if you know how to end the conversation, you're fine. Otherwise, you'll be there for 20 minutes thinking, just kill me now.
Fantastic. And then one final question, and it's a bit of a theme from some of the other questions I've asked today, okay? Mm-hmm. I am a huge believer in the alchemy of like timeless principles that never go out of date, mm-hmm. and then leading edge ways to put those principles into practice. Mm-hmm. What is one timeless principle that you use day to day in your business and everyone can learn from, mm-hmm. with a like leading edge way of using it right now?
Afters early. Every time you communicate with anyone, you say the afters as early as you can. So if you meet with someone and they want to export into France, you don't say, thank you for sparing the time. You go, been looking forward to our meeting. You know you want to export into France. I've got a couple of new ideas for you. Yeah. So you go afters early. When you write the proposal, here's how we can get you into France. When you do the presentation, slide one says how we can get you into France. When you call the meeting to agree the best way to get into France. So everything has to be afters early. When you, and the other one, you've asked for one, but I'm going to sneakily give you two. But as I said to James before, you have to end with a call to action, because if you don't end with a call to action, they won't do anything, which means all the afters excitement is frittered away. Afters early, call to action at the end.
What's the best gift you can give anyone?
Wow. Your undivided attention and respect and caring and empathy. It's all about the other person. It's always all about the other person. I was going to say particularly in sales, but just in life in general, you know, if you're speaking to someone, so if someone says, oh, I've had a bit of a shocking day today because, I don't know, there was an explosion down the road, it's so easy to say, oh, I remember when I experienced an explosion as well. You know, and so you're not really having a proper conversation, you're just waiting for your turn to speak. Yeah. And so the greatest 3 words in the English language, I think, are tell me more. You know, so when somebody says, I experienced this, oh, God, that sounds hard, tell me more, what happened, and just be present and so on. So respect, time, empathy, love, that's the greatest thing you can give.
Be in the moment and make it all about them.
Uh-huh.
Not an easy skill to develop.
No, but you can develop it, and it helps if you care, and you're not doing it because of manipulatory reasons, you're doing it because it matters to you.
What's the most beautiful thing in sales?
When you both agree something you're delighted by, and that could be you decide to work together, which is a beautiful thing. So think of the afters, they're going to get big afters and they're going to pay you a fee which is small compared to the afters, that's great. Or you jointly agree that it's not for you two, but that's fine, and you part as friends and go somewhere else, either's fine. I remember my mum used to work for a marriage guidance place called Relate, like the charity, and the counsellors have to do some forms, and one of the questions on the form said, did your counselling enable the couple to stay together or separate with less hostility? And I thought that was a really interesting phrase, because when I first saw that, I said to Mum, oh, I thought the job was to keep everyone together, and she said, no, our job is to help them jointly work out where it's going to end and get there as nicely as possible. And I think sales is the same. Your job isn't to try and sell everything to everyone all the time. Your job is either to go together in a happy place or separate with no hostility, and it's just been a nice experience for you both.
What's been the hardest lesson in your life?
I mean, I don't know. I think that when I started, I don't know if this is hard. Yeah, when I started, a lot of people said very nice things about me, which is very nice. And I think I didn't realise at the time how important practice was. So I didn't like go in unprepared, but I sort of thought, I should be all right with this. I practiced a couple of times, it should be fine. And afterwards I came off and people said nice things, but afterwards I thought, I'm better than this. And I don't know about you guys, but I think the worst feedback you can ever get is your own negative feedback where you think, I could have done better. So even if they're happy, it doesn't matter, it matters what I think. So there's been a few times in my early days when I thought, no, you're better than this. And you got away with it, but that's not the point. Another one that I found was, we've all had experiences which didn't go very well. And almost always that's been because I didn't ask the right questions up front. Yeah. If you ask the right questions, you find out the right stuff. So it will be something to do with practice, and it will be something to do with make sure I ask the right questions. You can always ask one more question.
Sooner rather than later as well, up front rather than the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is an experience thing to a degree, the question thing. But practice, everyone can relate to that.
Yeah, and we've all done
it's a big lesson for us all.
It is, and when you do any I keep saying about afters early because of the importance of first impressions, but when I do conference presentation, keynote things, I must practice my opening sentence about 50 to 100 times. Like I just say it again and again and again and again. And I don't just practice the words, I practice the intonation. And I always get to the room early before everybody else, and I work out where I'm going to sit, and then I practice walking from my chair onto the stage. So I want to get the pace right. I don't want to run across because you look nervous, but I don't want to dribble my feet, so I want to have the right sort of thing. And then my body language has got to be right, and I've got to say the right words with the right... I remember the first presentation, which was a big deal. So my previous biggest audience was about 200, and this one was 1,500, so it's quite a big jump, that. And I was a bit nervous. And I remember my opening sentence was, good morning, everyone, I've got a question for you. And I must have practiced this opening sentence about 5,000 bloody times. And I can remember now walking across the stage, just the right pace, the arms came out and I said, good morning, everyone, I've got a question for you. And it just came out like my wife would say, that wasn't And anymore, it was this Andy Bounds. And it was just really cool. And anytime you get the first thing right, you'll probably be fine. So you've got to practice, but your start is disproportionately important, so you have to disproportionately practice it.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Headline for this. Should afters be included in the headline of this podcast?
I would think so.
Why afters are the key to a referral machine?
You could do that if you want to. I'm going to give you 3, and you can choose whichever one you like best.
I'll let the team decide.
All right. So that's number 1. Another one could be more sales faster. Another one could be how to make a lot more sales without trying very hard. Another one could be how to make magic sales that you're not quite sure how they happened.
Quite like that last one.
Yeah, people like magic, right?
Yeah, that's what Drayton said as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
you and Drayton, eh?
Yeah.
Good company. You know what I enjoy most about every time I meet with you? Your energy that you bring, the consistency on afters, but that you're so sharp and action orientated, and pretty much everything you've said is usable almost instantly for everybody. It's practical, it's simple, with inspiration. What's been your favourite part of this?
Just being here with all these wonderful, like-minded people. You know, you go to plenty of rooms where there's some cynicism in the room. There's none in here. It's just brilliant. I just really like it. When I was talking to people outside, it was really exciting. All of us want to do better ourselves, and all of us want to help other people do better. It's just a really nice room to be in. It's a privilege to be up here, but being in this room is cool. Thank you.
The great Andy Bounds. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a hand, folks. Give him a hand. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. There we go. There we go.